I want to do a really short video to finally wrap up Ed Dames and the kill shot, which is what I spoke about in parts 3 and 4 of remote viewing predictions for the future. If you haven't seen those, you can find the links to those in the description. So, in each one of those, I posed the question, do each of these events truly represent the fulfillment of a prediction? And I stand by that being a very good question. Now, what I didn't say in either of those videos was my primary reason for throwing that in there. And my primary reason was simply this. Ed Dames, has been wrong about quite a many things. Now, on ZetaTalk.com, you can find a pretty extensive list about failed predictions from Ed Dames. Now, I want to, and I'll put the link to that in the description as well, but I want to state an observation that I made pertaining to these unfulfilled, or rather failed, predictions. Every single one of these failed predictions involved a very specific time frame. Ed Dames has historically been very willing to say so-and-so will happen by this year or by the end of 2005 or whatever. I mean, which incidentally he doesn't really do anymore. I think part of the reason he doesn't do that anymore is because of how many times he's been wrong about certain things that never came to pass when he said that they would come to pass. If we take this at face value, there is a plethora of failed predictions. Each one of them have a specific time frame tied to them. That is important. Ed Dames and many other remote viewers have all said something similar to the extent of it's a lot easier to remote view a particular event than it is to give an accurate description of exactly when that event is going to take place.
The time problem is a big bugbear. We can see an event. I use see loosely. We can perceive big events, all of these types of big events in the future, just like one could see a big mountain range in the future. You can see it ahead, but we don't have the parallax in terms of an analogy. We don't have the parallax vision to adjudge the distance to this big mountain. We can only guess it. With a very similar situation we have in remote viewing. We can see these events ahead, but we can't adjudge the distance in time. So it's still a big problem for us. That's why we had to go through this nut roll about looking at the preceding events that lead up to this huge catastrophic disaster on Earth. When is this going to happen? Because that's the big one. That's the big question. When is it going to happen? So much time has been dedicated by remote viewers, my team and others, individuals, to attempt to discern this. And again, since mind is outside of time, we cannot put a calendrical date on the beginning of this sequence. But what we've done over the years is establish preceding events, large, recognizable preceding events that lead up, that we can see, are dominoes that lead up to the beginning of this kill shot sequence.
Now, the average skeptic will probably be calling BS at this point. However, as I mentioned, numerous other remote viewers have said something along the exact same lines about how it is, for some reason or another, extremely difficult to accurately predict the timing of a particular event. They say that it's easier to describe what's happening in the event rather than exactly when the event is going to take place. I'm not a remote viewer, so I don't know. Personally, I am inclined to give him the benefit of the doubt about this. Again, because it's echoed by so many other remote viewers, but either way, I encourage you to come to your own conclusion about it. Here's a comment left by Bad Bug. He says, "The only problem I have with some of these random predictions made by some of these remote viewers is you can just about claim anything, wait long enough, and the law of averages says it will probably happen. Is that actually remote seeing the future?" Well, I mean, that's a very, very good point that you bring up, and that's a question that I can't really definitively answer. It really all comes down to whether or not you're personally inclined to believe that there truly is anything behind remote viewing. Mockingbird Lane left me a comment that really got me thinking, and I'm going to read what he or she, not really sure if it's a he or she, but going to read what he or she wrote. It says, "Do each of these events truly represent the fulfillment of a prediction? Seems likely, but more so the events are the fulfillment of observation. I am here thinking of William Burroughs' notes on observation. Sometimes observation manifests the event. Often events continue even if not observed. Highly likely they were sensitive to the future, and the act of observation does change whether light is a particle or a wave." Very true, that was proven in the double slit experiment. "Would these events have manifested different if no prediction was made?" I suppose we will never know the answer to that question. Again, that's very true. Great comment, great thought. So observation, yes, observation does have some really mysterious effect on the reality around us, and that's proven in quantum mechanics. However, I doubt we will really ever understand exactly how that works. I think that is something that is always going to remain a mystery. So, not only does observation affect reality, but in other experiments, intent may also play a role here. I remember hearing about an experiment using a type of REG, random event generator, where the two events that were possible were whether the light moves to the left or to the right, clockwise or counterclockwise. So it was like a circular pattern of lights, and the random event generator would sort of make the lights do this thing. But when they brought in participants, and the participants were asked to try to will the direction of the lights to go in one direction, they found that the participants may have actually been able to do that. It's not completely proven yet. It is, to a large degree, a matter of interpretation, how you interpret the results. But it is an interesting thought, and if observation affects reality, then it's not really that big of a leap to consider the possibility if intent also shapes reality. So that's my 2 cents worth. Great comment. This was a very, very thought-provoking comment. Thank you for leaving it. So Simeon Forge asks what my thoughts on the future are. Now, Simeon, if you're asking me what are my thoughts on the validity of predictions from people like Ed Dames and Stephen Schwartz, well, then it's funny that you should ask, because I was actually planning on discussing this. So here's my 2 cents worth, honestly. People like Dames and Stephen Schwartz, while there are some problems, especially more related to Dames, there are some problems when it comes to specifically dates that he predicted, which he doesn't do anymore. So aside from that, if you take a look at sort of the overall picture, it seems to me that both of those experiments have yielded enough already proven accurate predictions that I think that the general public should seriously give some credence to these. That's just my opinion. I find, nevertheless, I find this stuff utterly fascinating, and this probably will not be my last remote viewing predictions video. I think a little bass just jumped over there. Too bad that you can't see it. So yeah, this won't be the end of the series. I've had a lot of fun doing this so far, and I've really enjoyed reading everyone's comments too. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for engaging with this. I can't tell y'all how much I appreciate y'all. You rock. And thank you so much. That's all I got for this video. So my next video is going to be the long-awaited part 1 of the series that you're either going to love or hate. So I will see you then. Take care. Hey everyone, Drew here from Mad Cat Mysteries, and I hope you enjoyed the video you just watched. If you did, you can click on the subscribe button below. I'd appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.